Hi everyone, I'm Michelle and this is 40 Days to Personal Revolution, week 1. I'm going to be doing a yoga tutorial for you. It's all of the poses that are in the book, so you can feel free to close the book and put it aside and just meet me on your mat. As I describe each of the poses, I want you to hold them so that you are feeling present in each of the poses. And also, this is going to be about 20 minutes, so it will count as your yoga for today. Beginning with Child's Pose. Child's Pose awakens the connection between your body and your breath. It's a resting pose, and it can also be used at any time during your practice whenever you feel you need it. So during this tutorial, you can also take Child's Pose anytime you need a break if you don't want to hold the pose that we're in. From a standing position, come to your hands and knees. Point your toes so that the tops of your feet are flat on the mat. Bring your big toes to touch and widen your knees out as wide as the mat. Shift the weight of your hips back so that your butt rests on your heels. Extend your arms straight out in front of you, palms face down, and bring your forehead to the floor. Close your eyes and just rest. Now hold this while I describe downward facing dog. Downward facing dog engages your whole being. It calms your nervous system, engages an overall flexible strength, decompresses your spine, tones and strengthens your arms, opens the arches of your feet, sculpts and lengthens your thighs, and is an amazing shoulder opener. It can be an active home base for you during your practice and is both dynamic and restful at the same time. It might not feel like it when you're in it for the first time, but eventually it will feel restful. The first downward dog of every practice is about checking in with your body. Where are you as you begin this practice? Where is your mind? Drop your day and come into your body. So from Child's Pose, making sure your arms are stretched out in front of you, palms on the floor and hands shoulder width apart. Curl your toes underneath and press your tailbone high to the sky, straightening your legs but keeping a small bend if needed. Walk your feet and your arms away from each other as much as you need to create a long base. You do want to make sure that you still have your hips high to the sky. Tilt your tailbone up to create length in your spine, and from the side, you should look like an inverted V. So don't have your legs and arms so far apart that you're almost in plank. Roll your shoulder blades down your back, spreading them apart and rotating your arms so that the pits of your elbow face each other. Press down into the triads of your hands. That's the knuckles of your thumb, your index finger, and that space in between. Rest your eyes on one spot. Breathe deeply and freely, letting the layers of tension fall away. For your alignment cues, while you're holding this pose, just have a mental check if you're doing this or not. Press your palms flat, fingers evenly spread apart. Press your thigh bones back towards the wall behind you. Contract and activate your quadriceps. Pull your hips back and tilt your tailbone up. Pull your belly in so that your navel moves towards your spine for upward lift. Drop the shoulder blades down your back, bringing the elbows in towards each other. Drop your head and rest your eyes on one point. From here, we'll move to Ragdoll. Ragdoll releases the back of your body and continues to awaken your biochemistry like downward facing dog. It has an inversion element to it, which revitalizes the nervous system and helps to create hormonal harmony. So, from downward facing dog, begin to walk your feet up towards your hands, towards the front of your mat. Your feet should be hip width apart and parallel. Bring your hands to the opposite biceps or just around your elbows, and let your weight roll onto the balls of your feet. Drop your head and let your neck hang soft and free. Shake your head yes and no a few times to make sure you're really letting go. Soften your eyes and set them on a point behind you. Hang down and breathe. Your alignment cues for self-check are to press the soles of your feet into your mat. Bend your knees slightly to protect them and your low back. Sway your hips forward so that they're over your heels. Keep your legs active and strong, and the upper body relaxed and free. Press your sitting bones up towards the sky. Let your head hang, creating length through your neck. If you need a modification, you can bend your knees as much as you need to and even rest the weight of your torso on the tops of your thighs. This is especially true if you feel any tightness in your low back. So there you have the 3 integration poses. From here, we will move into Sun Salutation A and Sun Salutation B. In Baptiste Power Vinyasa Yoga, Sun Salutation A is also used as a connecting link between poses in order to keep the flow or vinyasa moving. It's like the palate cleanser in between courses. Whenever the book says go through the vinyasa or vinyasa A, they're referring to Sun Salutation A. The first pose of Sun Salutation A is Samasthiti. It means standing at attention in Sanskrit. It cultivates body awareness and helps establish your personal stature from the onset of your practice. So from Ragdoll, heel toe your feet closer together so that the big toes are touching. With soft knees, roll up to standing 1 vertebrae at a time. Stand up straight at the front of your mat. Drive your legs down into the earth and lift your sternum towards the heavens, creating traction between the soles of your feet and the top of your head. Pull the tops of your shoulders back and relax them, hands hanging by your side. Gaze forward and stand tall with natural integrity. Root your feet in the earth and lift your arches. Checking further alignment, press the inner edges of your feet together. Center your hips and scoop the front of your pelvis as though you were holding a cup of water in your pelvic bowl. Open your chest and lift your sternum as you soften the front ribs. Pull the tops of your shoulders back and down away from your ears. Engage your hands and activate your fingertips. Depending on the instructor that you have, some instructors will take this pose and have your hands palms facing forward and fingertips spread wide apart. Tadasana. Tadasana is mountain pose. This pose reverses and relieves the constant gravitational stress on the body, lengthening and creating openness in the front torso, neck, chest, and shoulders. So from Samasthiti, spin your palms outward. Inhale and lift your chin slightly as you sweep your hands up sideways, stopping when they're shoulder-width apart above your head. Gaze at a point directly above you on the ceiling. As you're here, same as for Samasthiti, are the alignment cues, but this time you're also reaching your fingertips to the sky, rooting your feet down into the earth, creating length and space in your entire body, and your eyes rest on the ceiling on one point. Pull your belly in towards your spine. The next pose is standing forward bend or standing forward fold. In Sanskrit, it is Uttanasana. This forward bend stretches the lower back and hamstrings as well as all inversions. It also harmonizes the brain chemistry. So for mountain pose, you have your arms up and gaze high. Inhale deeply, and as you exhale, swan dive forward with a straight spine hinging at your hips. Sweep your arms down sideways, bringing your fingers to the floor on either side of your toes. Press your chest down into your legs and let your head hang down with your neck free. Alignment cues for this pose are to keep your feet active, stack your shins, knees, thigh bones, and hips in a vertical line. Spread your sitting bones away from each other. Focus on drawing the crown of your head towards the mat, using your hands around your ankles as leverage if you can reach. Breathe into whatever tightness you may feel in your hamstrings or lower back. Allow your eyes to stay soft. A modification, if this strains your lower back, is to keep your knees bent. From here, we'll move on to halfway lift. The halfway lift continues to stretch the hamstrings and lower back and also elongates the spine and tones the abdominal obliques. So from your standing forward bend, which you are still in, keep your feet together and place your fingertips on the floor on the outer edges of your feet in line with your toes. Inhale as you lift your torso halfway up to flat back. For you to reach a flat back, your hands may travel upwards on your thighs or your shins, and that's okay. Gaze at a spot on the floor about 6 inches ahead of you. For your alignment, place your fingertips on the floor in line with your toes or on your shins. Press your tailbone back and your chest forward. Extend and lengthen your spine. Drop your shoulder blades down your back and away from your ears. Bring your chin towards your chest slightly so that your neck is in alignment with your entire spine. A modification for this would be to bend your knees as much as you need to in order to maintain that flat back. And also, as mentioned before, to place your hands on your shins. The next pose will bring us down to the ground. It is a high plank or high push-up Dandasana. Dandasana literally translates to staff, which is a symbol of great power and strength. This strong pose builds upper and lower body integration while strengthening the muscles of your chest, shoulders, arms, abdominal wall, and legs. From halfway lift, bend your knees, and as you exhale, walk your feet back so that you're at the top of a push-up position. Tuck your toes under so that you're standing on the balls of your feet if they're not already like that. Stack your shoulders over your wrists, engage your quadriceps, lift your belly to your spine, and set your gaze at a spot on the mat between your hands. Option here to use your knees on the mat instead of just your toes. For your alignment cues, engage your quads and lift the front of your thighs simultaneously pressing back through your heels. Stack your shoulders, joints, elbows, and wrist all in one line. Use your core power and your legs to help you hold this pose. Gently lift and contract your abdomen. And as mentioned, your modification is to drop your knees. Your breath is key for maintaining your fluidity in the vinyasa. It's like the lubricating motor oil for the engine of the car. I won't make you hold this any longer. We'll move to low push-up or Chaturanga Dandasana. Chaturanga encourages full body stabilization and coordinated force of your entire musculature. This can be a challenging pose for newer students, but remember that we must step out of our comfort zone if we want to transform. So from high push-up, take a deep inhale. As you exhale, bend your elbows, move your body forward as you lower your torso until you are hovering with your shoulders at elbow height. Your elbows should form a perfect 90-degree angle. Engage your belly and quadriceps to distribute the burden of the weight evenly. As in high push-up, tuck your tailbone down towards your heels. Keep your chin slightly raised, gaze forward, and breathe. Feel free to lower onto your bellies as I continue to read the cues here. For your alignment in Chaturanga Dandasana, you want to stack your elbows over your wrists and tuck them into your ribs. So your fingers should be at about low rib level. Shoulders hover at the elbow level. You want to balance on the balls of your feet or on your knees if you're taking a modification. Engage and lift your quadriceps and belly. Slide your shoulder blades down the back. As in high push-up, as I mentioned before, you can drop your knees. If you need further modification, drop your chest down to the mat as well. Now that we're on our bellies, hopefully you've all released your Chaturanga Dandasana, we'll move to upward facing dog. Upward facing dog stretches the entire front of your torso. It continues to strengthen the muscles in your arms, shoulders, and upper back while opening the chest. So from low push-up, if you can get there again, great. You can also do this straight from your belly. Inhale and press down on your hands, scooping your chest and belly up. Move your torso forward and through your arms as you roll over the tops of your toes. This is assuming that you're in a push-up position with the tops, with your balls of your feet on the mat. Pull both of your shoulders back and press your chest forward. Drive down through your arms and the tops of your feet. Engage your legs and gaze forward. If you're in this pose already, please take a moment to come back down to your bellies. There's another version of this pose that you can do that is a low cobra. A low cobra, you keep your belly on the mat, your legs are engaged, tops of feet press into the mat, and you lift your chest up, just your chest. So your low belly and your hips stay on the floor. And everyone, wherever you're at, just lower back to your belly. Anytime you're in upward facing dog, making sure that your palms and the tops of your feet are pressed down into your mat. Engage your quadriceps, glutes, and abdomen to lift the front of your thighs off the mat. Spin your inner thighs up, keeping your toes on the floor. Stack your shoulders, elbows, and wrist in one vertical line. Draw your shoulders back away from your ears. Keep your neck in a neutral line with your spine. Modification here, if you feel this is tight or not very comfortable on your lower back, you can bend your arms and tuck your elbows into your sides and rest your belly on the floor. That is the low cobra that I described before. So we're all on our bellies right now. We'll repeat pose number 2, downward facing dog, at this point. So the building blocks and alignment for downward facing dog are exactly the same as when you did this pose earlier. To move into downward facing dog from upward facing dog, it would be during an exhale, and in one fluid motion, you drive the back of your thighs to the wall behind you, and you do this until you're in a inverted V. You adjust your hands and feet as necessary to come into the proper alignment. In sun salutations, you hold downward facing dog for 5 full breaths. An alternative movement would be to come back to your knees first and go to hands and knees tabletop, tuck your toes, and press your hips high to the sky. Please listen all the way through. Pose number 11 is jump forward. The jump forward links one pose to another and helps to build heat. On the 5th exhalation of downward facing dog, empty your lungs completely and press your thighs back even further. Pull your belly up into your spine. Look at your hands, bend your knees, and use your abdominal stability and upper body force. Jump your feet forward between your hands. A modification for this is to walk your feet forward one at a time until you're more comfortable with the jump forward. So if you're ready, you can go ahead and try the jump, but the goal here is to not use momentum, but rather use your upper body force and your abdominal muscles to float forward. You want to be light and easy, landing softly without a sound. So from downward facing dog, take one deep inhale. As you exhale, look forward, bend the knees, and either float or walk forward. To finish sun salutation A after you've jumped or walked forward, we'll come into halfway lift, which was pose number 7. So take a halfway lift as you inhale, exhale to a forward fold. And then from here, sweep your arms up through the sides until you're at standing mountain pose, which was pose number 5. Gaze is up. Make sure that you're engaging your abdominal lock as you come all the way up. Then drop your arms and come back to Salutation. It's pose number 4. We'll repeat sun salutation A 2 times during practice and then proceed to sun salutation B. So let's take that as one fluid motion. If you're ready, you should be standing at Salutation. As you inhale, sweep your arms all the way up until they're shoulder distance apart, looking up. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, take a halfway lift. Exhale, place your hands on the mat and either come to high push-up on your toes or on your knees. Take another inhale and exhale, lower down to Chaturanga Dandasana. Either hover here or come all the way down to your belly. On an inhale, you can move to upward facing dog or low cobra, keeping your belly and hips on the mat. And as you exhale, move back to downward facing dog, either over the tops of your feet or through the knees. From downward facing dog, after your 5 breaths, we'll move forward again. Inhale, lift the heels slightly or press your thighs back. Bend the knees, look forward, and as you exhale, walk or float towards your hands. Inhale, take a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up through the sides, all the way up. And exhale, bring your hands back down by your side. Let's take one more round together, a little bit faster, one movement per breath. Inhale, sweep the arms up, look up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, flow through your vinyasa. High to low push-up. Low cobra or upward facing dog as you inhale. And back to downward facing dog. Take 5 breaths here. On an inhale, press your thighs back, turn your gaze towards your hands, bend your knees and either walk or float forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold all the way. Inhale, sweep your arms up through the sides, all the way up, look up, and bring your hands back down by your side for Salutation A. Great job!